back to Health Hacks by Tara, and today I want to talk to you guys about why I became a pescatarian. Usually when people find out that I'm a pescatarian, right off the bat, they don't quite know exactly what that is. I've heard, you mean you're a pedestrian, a Presbyterian? I've heard all sorts of things. But no, so I actually am a pescatarian. It was by choice. So what is a pescatarian? Basically, a pescatarian is someone who abstains from eating meat as a part of their diet, with the exception of fish. So around May of 2014, I decided to just eliminate meat cold turkey. I woke up one morning and decided, you know what, this is it. I don't care to continue to have meat in my diet, and from that point moving forward, I never looked back. It was something that I had thought about for months leading up until that point, but I hadn't quite made the switch from just thinking about it to actually preparing to do it. But I woke up one morning and was like, you know what, this is it. Before that, I wasn't really a big meat eater per se. I mean, if it was on my plate, I would eat it, but I never really cared too much for the stuff growing up, so it wasn't really that big of a difference unless it was like time to prepare dinner or prepare a meal and I didn't really know what to make. So I wanted to share with you guys my top 3 reasons for going pescatarian and eliminating meat from my diet altogether. Number 1 was for health reasons. Cholesterol, hypertension, overweight, or being overweight, and obesity, they all run in my family. Along with diabetes, I know that eating meat doesn't necessarily cause diabetes per se, but it's just another one of those things that I just didn't want to get involved with. So I eliminated meat because there are countless studies that suggest that eating meat can lead up to those things in comparison with a sedentary lifestyle and all those other things. So there is the health implications behind it because I just don't have time to be caught off guard by a stroke or a heart attack or anything like that. At least when I know that there are certain things that I can do to prevent it from happening. Secondly, there were spiritual implications as well. I am an active member of the Seventh-day Adventist faith, and if you know anything about being a Seventh-day Adventist, you know that Adventists are extremely conservative. Not only do we not eat meat, but we usually tend to abstain from alcohol and drugs. Some would even argue that we abstain from caffeine or anything that could really just be taxing to your internal organs. For me personally, I got to a point where, again, I didn't really care about meat, but because I grew up in a Seventh-day Adventist household and because I was so inundated with Seventh-day Adventist culture, I didn't really have meat like that growing up. I remember being served vegetarian meals when I was in grade school, when I was involved with extracurricular activities. Meat was never really a part of it. So I didn't really care too much for it. If you know anything about the Seventh-day Adventist faith, you'll know that it's not uncommon for vegetarian dishes to be the primary entree at Adventist-related events. Within our faith, it isn't exactly prohibited to eat meat, but it is strongly discouraged. You go to some regions of the world and you will find meat. Most regions of the world you won't. There were also environmental considerations as well. Typically speaking, to have animals be used as a source of food, it can be a little bit taxing on the environment, mostly because animals defecate at a higher rate than humans do, and all of that bodily waste winds up being just that, waste, and it can be a little bit taxing on the environment. Additionally, to continue to grow those crops to feed the animals is astronomically higher than it is to actually feed humans. So if you compare a plant-based human or a plant-based vegan is what they're called, or people who just adhere to a specifically plant-based diet, and compare that with that of animals that are used for producing food or used for being food, I guess you can say, the animals tend to eat more. So overall, it wasn't really something that I personally wanted to be a part of. I'm not bashing people who do eat meat. I've got no reservations whatsoever, but for me personally, I just didn't care too much for it. Since then, I can say that my life has been dramatically better. I've seen an increase in the quality of my life, not just physically, but also mentally and spiritually. Um, Eliminating meat was one of the greatest decisions that I ever made, because since then I feel like my cholesterol count and my blood pressure count, all of those things have really been under control, which is something that was really important to me, especially because I am a mom and I'm really cognizant about my numbers and how my habits can influence my son and his future children and generations down the line. I decided to be really intentional about kind of bridging that gap and making sure that I can reverse some of those habits that kind of run through my lineage. But honestly speaking, it has been a fabulous decision. It really forces you to be creative. I can honestly say that within the past almost 4 years that I've been a pescatarian, I've tried more foods and experimented with more foods within that 4 years alone than I have compared to the rest of my life. And that, in my eyes, is what having a balanced diet is all about. There's so many things and so many plants and so many herbs and so many things that are available for us to eat that we tend to overlook because we end up being so fixated on one particular diet or another that we essentially deprive ourselves of all of the other good and great things that are out there for us to eat or for us to try or for us to experiment with. Another thing that I have noticed a sense of heightened mental clarity. I don't know if it's the pseudo effect, but I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that it's because I've been hyper cognizant of my diet. And I can honestly say that ever since I decided to eliminate meat from my diet, that everything has just changed. Like, I've been able to just get a lot more accomplished in life. I've been a lot more productive. And a lot of that I do attribute to my diet and just overall lifestyle. Overall, I just feel healthier. I feel lighter. I feel less bloated. I feel like I'm more in control of my health. And I think it was generally a good decision for me personally. So if you are on the brink of considering eliminating meat from your diet, or if you want to just reduce the amount of meat that you consume on a regular basis, just know that you're doing yourself a favor, you're doing your future children and generations that will go after you a favor, and you're doing the environment a favor too. And that's really what this is all about. Don't freak out. It's a lot easier than it sounds. You can do it. It just requires a lot of preparation. It requires a lot of experimentation, and it requires a lot of open-mindedness on your behalf. Otherwise, it will be miserable and you will regress. But I can tell you that as long as you do your part, it will be so much easier. Hopefully this is a good video. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time.